Yo, what is going on, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. Julio Monterosa, executive director of Vibes. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. It's a beautiful day in LA. It's kind of chill, but not. It was kind of warm during the day as well, so I'm kind of liking the bipolar weather.
Yeah. We got a little bit of rain over the weekend. Days are starting to get a little bit longer. We're inching closer towards spring and summer. So getting through January is always, it feels like it's been
January for like 3 months.
Yeah,
like 3 months of January. Like the more memes I see it, the more I realize like this month just feels so long.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. New Year's celebrations feels like a year ago, but we do have solo episodes so we can get into some of the big headlines and news from the soccer world today. Let's start with some big transfers. A couple of big transfers in right now with the winter window. I think the biggest one, Neymar, though, going from the Saudi back to his roots in Brazil with Santos. What are your thoughts on this? There's a lot of talk about how, obviously the money in Saudi was crazy. They said something, he made like $40 million per goal he scored, or per goal contribution, I should say, because I think he had a couple assists as well. Just an insane amount of money for such a tiny amount of actual on-field production. A lot of that wasn't his fault, but what are your thoughts on this move now and his next step?
I read something say that he played 42 minutes all 2024. Dang.
Yeah.
What a come up. Wait to rob him without a gun. Yeah. But they have money. I think it's not his fault. He got injury. He was injury after injury happened to him. So feel bad. I'm just happy to see Neymar back in the field. We went to that Puma.
Right. Last summer.
Last summer, we went to Puma for his new soccer cleat release, and he talked about it, like he just can't wait to come back. He's been working hard. He was a little upset that how things turned out because he's always played and like it's the longest injury he's ever had. But him going back to Santos is great. Like that Neymar Santos era was unmatched. Like from the dance moves.
Right.
The
haircuts.
The haircut, but now, like, just seeing him come in, like, hearing Ramos, Marcelo going to Santos now, 2 Real Madrid legends going with a Barcelona legend. So, like, I kind of I like it just for the Brazilian league. I hope they can go far and win some Copa Libertadores. Even though I'm a Boca Juniors fan, I want Boca to win it, but I want that Santos team to win it because it was a vibe. It was an era when Neymar was in Santos.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by Bet Online. The biggest betting weekend of the year is finally here, which means more updated odds and props for Super Sunday. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for online betting. We have hundreds of prop bets, MVP odds, and exclusive in-game live betting. Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online offers you everything and more to enhance your game day experience. Visit the website today and make the game day action count a little bit more. Bet Online, the game starts here. Yeah, it's one of the greatest YouTube compilation clips ever. Just, if you're ever bored or are looking for something to do or just even have something in the background, 25 minutes of just Neymar Santos compilation. You just search it up on YouTube, and it never disappoints. It hits every single time.
18.
Just a kid that young, that small, with that much power, that much vision, and the way that he plays, the joy with which he played. And I think that's something that he really hasn't had, even going back to his last few years in Paris, where it just didn't feel like he had that same joy. And it didn't work out at all the way he wanted to in Saudi. Obviously, the injuries were we talked about that on previous episodes of just how devastating it is for him, already having been dealing with these injuries going back to the 2010 World Cup. No, 2014 World Cup.
Yeah,
sorry.
The one where that was it Colombian guy?
Colombia, yeah, the Colombian guy got into his back.
That was set to be his World Cup. He should have won that World Cup.
It already was leading up to that point.
He was balling.
They they were making runs. He was playing out of his mind, like in front of his home crowd. That was like his moment. Yeah. And that from that point,
was that 2014 the year the Champions League where Barcelona was down for?
No, that was a couple years later. I think that was like 2016 or 17.
Yeah, where
the Paris Saint-Germain game.
When he scored that banger of a free kick.
I think that might have been his last year in Barcelona.
Yeah, definitely, because he was out 2017, 2018.
Yeah. Banger of the free kick, couple assists, like that. That was, I mean,
Sergi scoring that last goal.
Yeah, and you watch these documentaries or you watch the coverage around him, and he's always under the shadow of Messi. That game, he really put the team on his back.
Yeah, it was on his back.
But going back to what I was saying is, he hasn't played with that joy in a few years. So hopefully he's able to get healthy. Hopefully he's able to be in a familiar situation, because even for a person like him going to the Saudi Arabian league where it's not really a lot of players had a little bit of trouble. Karim Benzema was talking about that when he went to Al Nassr with Cristiano. Like he had a bit of an adjustment period, and he wanted out because of the fact that his family, like it was a tough situation. So I don't think that was the easiest thing for him already, not even going into the injuries, but now coming back home, being around a familiar situation, place that he's
he's a legend.
He's a legend there.
I was seeing a it might have been an Instagram clip or a YouTube clip of him saying hi to the players of Santos, and the guy, one guy's like in disbelief,
right.
You don't get it. You're my hero.
Yeah.
The reason I'm in this club playing is because I saw you as a kid.
Yeah.
Balling. So it's great. Just especially for us that have been older, that went through that Copa Libertadores, seeing him his magic. The way he there was one play where he did cross over his legs through the player one side. The ball went
that was the
side.
Puskas goal. The goal that won goal of the year.
Yes,
where
definitely.
It was that solo run where he splits two guys, somehow stays on his feet
and touches with his opposite.
Yeah,
foot,
and then goes around. I mean, that was just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So so just like you said, if you're ever bored and you want to put a smile on your face, watch those highlights reels or just the compilation videos of him and his magic. But going back to you saying he hasn't played with that fun energy in a while. I don't think that most of Brazil hasn't played with that energy. And Brazil is the Joga Bonito. Even though they have top 10 players.
Yeah.
Am I saying every position in the national team? They play more European, that La Liga, touch opposed to give it to your wings and let them create magic.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's only Neymar. I think it's the whole Brazilian team as a whole.
And they really struggled without him in the Copa America, and even before without Neymar, Brazil has historically struggled. Even though he may not necessarily have been at the top of his game. Even going back to that 2014 World Cup, that game that they missed without him was the 7-1, that notorious 7-1 game.
Yeah, but
so I do agree that you don't see that even from guys like Vinny. That midfield is crazy. Marquinhos, I think it was definitely weird to watch them, especially at that Copa Libertadores. That was the last lasting image that I have of Brazil, and they played very uninspired football there. But I think Neymar has a lot to do with the leadership, because they all love him, kind of like how Messi, all the Argentinians, they love Messi, they look up to him. It's the same way with Brazil and Neymar.
Yeah, because Neymar is he's that false nine for Brazil.
Yeah,
he can score goals. He can take people off the dribble. Don't get me wrong. I think Vinny and Rodrigo do have the same capabilities, but they can't play that false nine role if they wanted to,
right.
Because they're more dynamic. They're not really get the ball back to the goal and then create something.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the national team is missing, a Neymar who can put some magic.
I don't know if it's an underrated part of his game, but he's a great passer.
Yes.
He is unbelievable, and that's why he fit in so well with the MSN trio.
Yeah.
And it's another thing you see with Real Madrid's front three. That's not really meshing well because of the clashing styles. Whereas Neymar is someone who's very adaptable. He can do everything. You know, so it's not like a Vinny where it's almost a little bit more of a rigid, you know, playing style.
You got to get a Vinny on open land, and he's going to create.
Yeah.
No, Neymar's tight spaces.
Yeah.
He's coming out of
phone booth. Like they have that basketball saying, like a phone booth player.
Yeah.
Like he's the soccer version of a phone booth player. But like he doesn't need any space to create his own shot.
No, yeah, Rodrigo and Vinny just if they see takeoff, like they're good with that. Like if they see a lane to take off, they're good with that. But no, Neymar is more give him the ball and move out the way for like 2 seconds. He'll come out and give you the ball back. So yeah, so that. But I'm just happy to see him back.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see Santos because Santos did get relegated, one of the bigger teams where Rey Pelé played at. So the history of that team, now seeing them back in first division, bringing their child prodigy that's supposedly the next Pelé back, even though they had Robinho as well.
Right.
So having him back now, all these names are throwing out. The president's hype.
Yeah.
He wants to spend some money. I know they were going through some financial troubles as well. So all that into place. They're talking Copa Libertadores again with these big names. I'm just hopefully they can execute and just get. I think it's like 6 players they dreamed of that they said online. I hope they can get at least 3 or 4 of those guys.
Yeah. What about the physicality? Because Brazil is a very physical league, and you can even see it in the videos of Neymar. Like he's getting beat up. Like he's small and he's able to handle it because he's so nimble and he's able to navigate that. That was when he was a teenager. Now coming off of a couple of big injuries, into his 30s. Like, do you think he's going to be able to handle that physicality?
No, that's hard, especially with the injuries he's had. I don't think he's gonna be the same player when he was that 17-year-old kid going at everybody.
Yeah.
He's gonna play smarter.
Yeah.
But for him to have a great season, I do think he needs some help. It's gonna be hard, but I know they also rumored of bringing back his I forget his name, his partner in crime when he was at Santos.
Okay.
His name was Renato.
Okay.
So the older players, they're trying to bring older players that know the game, so I think it's gonna be easier. It'll be more movement out the ball, but from time to time he will create his magic. But the more if they expect Neymar to have the ball most of the game, all plays run through him, I don't think he's gonna last all season.
Right.
But if they know how to use him correctly, just like here and there, like once they find him and put him in a great spot, he creates his magic. I think he'd do better. But if they expect him to be that only one guy against his teams are not up to his level or up to his speed, he's not gonna last all season.
Yeah.
The way you see the slide tackling coming in Brazil, it's crazy. It's like playing Argentina.
Right. Yeah. And I think not a direct one-to-one comparison, but when you look at how Messi has been deployed in MLS, where he's picking and choosing where to make his runs, because MLS is also a very physical league.
Yes.
It's very demanding, and he's obviously up in age. So I think being able to pick and choose has really helped him. Maintain some sense of longevity, even dealing with injuries of his own. So some kind of play smarter, not harder type.
Yeah,
deal.
no, like definitely. I was lucky enough to go see him against LAFC,
right,
and against LA Galaxy, and both games. I had a press pass. Shout out to the press. But literally, I was just I lost sight of the ball. I was just looking at Messi, just Messi, just. Like his aura, how he walked. I think he walked out of the 90 minutes, he probably walked 80.
Yeah.
80.
That's a big thing with him.
But out of those 80 minutes, he had 2 to 3 players defending him at all times.
Yeah.
So literally, he's so smart that he was making a difference just from moving, shifting that defense with his presence.
Right.
And then when they fell off a little bit, and they were like, all right, he's not gonna do it, then he's only walking.
Yeah.
Boom, he switches that speed, gets the ball, and creates a play.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the way he should definitely look at Messi highlights in the MLS, and just that should be his game for Brazil.
Yeah. Do you think? Because there's also talks of Neymar going to Chicago. Then apparently the talks were pretty advanced, or they were. There's a lot of speculation around that. What would you have thought if Neymar came to MLS, and do you prefer him going to?
If I went to Chicago, I would have been upset.
Yeah.
I've been upset. Like it makes. Shout out Chicago. Yeah, great team. You had Cuauhtémoc Blanco. You had great players.
Kellen is there too.
Kellen Acosta.
Yeah.
We love him here. But I don't think for like a player, like I don't think even though it's a big market,
that franchise has been in the dumps lately.
But the thing is, like, it really won't bring no more fandom to MLS. He had to go to like a LA Galaxy, a LAFC.
Sure. I mean, they're talking
Miami,
about him going to Miami.
Miami,
too.
Yeah, they're bringing back that MSN. Imagine that MSN back, bro. Like us older people would have been crying for no reason. Bringing back our childhood,
But if you had to pick between MLS and going back to Brazil, what would you?
Oh, Santos, 100%.
Santos, okay, good.
Just because I saw almost every game of that Copa Libertadores where he won it. So yeah, it was like it's like when Tevez went back to Boca Juniors. I remember seeing that 16-year-old Tevez balling up with Boca Juniors, doing the bird dance and getting a red card against scoring that goal against River. So the nostalgic factor plays way more into MLS. So I 100% would like him going back to Santos over MLS.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Another big move. This time on the women's side of the game. Naomi Girma, first $1 million transfer in women's soccer, going to Chelsea from San Diego Wave here in the NWSL. She has been one of, if not the best players in the women's game over the last few years. I think she won U.S. Soccer Player of the Year. I think it was the first defender to do it or something like that. But just a real anchor in the back. You hear about some of the women's national team players talk about her, and they say just how much of a sure thing that she is. If you go back to a couple of their disappointing performances, even in those, she was a bright spot in there. So this is not it's a deserved move in terms of the scale that she's being paid and the coverage. I think that the coverage around it has been great. But I think a more interesting angle to this is now you're starting to see a lot more American players, whether they're on the national team or not, but moving from NWSL to either the French league or the WSL in England. Jenna Neiswanger just signed to Arsenal. So there's a handful of players that are already there. I think Lindsay Horan's playing with PSG. Emily Fox is with Arsenal as well. But there's rumors now that Crystal Dunn is going to be going to PSG. So what are your thoughts now? First off, what were your thoughts when you saw the $1.1 million deal? And then next off, what do you think about some of these American players going over to Europe?
So once I heard the $1 million, enjoyed it, loved it, shows that the women's game is growing. How do I feel as a U.S. fan? I hate it. The reason why is because U.S. soccer has been the staple for years. The Europeans just started catching on about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
2 World Cups. Let's say 2 World Cups. So they're making massive jumps compared to NWSL, and I think we're dropping the ball here. We're giving other countries a chance to top us, and we're not going to be that team in the women's sports that are feared, that are the best team just because we're making them better for sending our top talent, and our top talent has always been top tier, always been the creme de la creme, whatever people want to strive to be national teams. From like our pays to our national team, but I think it's a wrong move for NWSL for a simple reason that they want to grow as a league, and the best way to grow as a league is keeping your stars. So sending your stars away to not less developed leagues, because on the men's side you've seen what they can do, but it's gonna hurt us in the long run, I believe.
Yeah. So you're basically saying America first.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, definitely no. But it'll be opposite for the men's game.
Right.
For men's, I want them to go to Europe.
Yeah.
But for the women's game, I want them to stay here because they're the best, and they're the best that they can have. In the men's side, we're not the best. Yeah. To be honest.
So I think that's an interesting point. But when you look at the NWSL. There's a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk about NWSL versus specifically the WSL, the Women's Premier League in England, about the comparison between the two leagues, because that's a league that certainly has seen a lot of growth. A lot of top players in the world play in that league, whether it's Sam Kerr, bronze. Like a lot of these, the England national team, France national team, they're playing there or with Lyon or Barcelona. Like Lyon and Barcelona are still, I think, the two premier franchises, but when you take a look at more leagues, Arsenal has a strong squad, Man City has a strong squad, Chelsea has a very strong squad. So we already have Catarina Macario. That's another player that I miss. She plays on Chelsea as well, and so NWSL has parity in terms of 1 through 12, now 14. 12? Is it 12 teams or 14 teams? Yeah. So 1 through 14, I think top to bottom, the difference between the best team and the worst team is not, is significant, but not like, it's not a massive drop off. Whereas in the WSL or even in the French league and the Spanish league, you see, you have your top teams. You have, your Barcelonas, your Wolfsburgs, your Lyons, PSG, and then Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Man United in England, and then I think there's a steep drop off, and so what I'm interested to see, because I think just when Jessica Black was over, and she was talking about, I think it was during the Olympics, and there's a lot of talk between NWSL versus all the European leagues, and the Olympics. The final was two very NWSL heavy teams in Brazil versus the US. So that kind of had, NWSL was like, okay, yeah, now we're up. Whereas before the last tournament, the World Cup, it was more the European leagues were dominating. So there's always been this back and forth, right? And now we're starting to see more players go to the European leagues, and I want to see them dominate there, and I want it to be known for sure that, okay, Naomi Girma was one of the best players in the NWSL. She goes there to WSL now, and she's just by far and away, you're going to see the difference now. Well, as a defender, it's a little bit harder to measure that, but someone like Catarina Macario, who's only played in Europe, hasn't played in NWSL, we haven't seen what she's been able to do, and I think that's a person that I want to see come to NWSL next. And we can trade stars. I don't think there's especially if they're paying money, go get your money,
definitely.
Go get your paper, do all that. But I do kind of want to see a stage to where we can more accurately compare the U.S. leagues versus the European leagues, because I still think, maybe the fact that I'm American puts some bias to me. I still think NWSL is better, but a couple of these top teams in the European leagues out there are starting to make a lot of very interesting moves, and they're starting to spend money the way that, maybe that it's warranted.
No, definitely. And it shows that NWSL's Player Association could have kept the same rules from last year's draft, be able to trade it as long as we could have paid our stars more money, because they're going to these leagues where they don't have all this stuff that they have for them. But it goes back to we gotta spend that money. Yeah, we're gonna keep losing our stars if we can't afford to pay them what they deserve.
Yeah. So NWSL teams, get your paper up. I do like the
Gives
idea.
Me brokey.
I do like the idea of keeping your stars.
Definitely,
right? That's something that's important, especially for a growing league like NWSL. But it's, to me, the move is positive because it's gonna give. And I also don't think it's a coincidence that this shift is being made now that we have a British coach in Laura Harvey. Mm-hmm. So I think she might have something to do with a lot of these moves, the shift to Europe.
Yeah.
But I do want to see this a little bit more of a accurate comparison between the two leagues. I want to see Naomi dominate. I want to see Jenna Neiswanger dominate.
We're bringing the All-Star game. How come we can't do European All-Star?
Yeah.
Or EPL All-Stars like they do in the Spanish side?
Yeah. So
NWSL
the seasons, I don't think the seasons line up. But a women's club World Cup would be fire, because I think that those top teams, and Barca came here, but they ducked smoke. Yeah, well, because they ducked the smoke. They played Bay FC, which is a expansion team, and they played a USL Super League team, which, no disrespect, that's still a top division team, but they just started. That was their first year. So, Barca knew what they were doing. They were ducking smoke.
But, the thing is, it's going to be hard for us to even compete in the upcoming years if we can't break those 9,000 attendance seats We gotta get better stadium for
Yeah, but I mean, when you see,
and that's on the guys and the women's side.
Yeah, the guys, because I mean, you see it every once in a while, like the Rose Bowl game, or when Messi goes to they play the special
Charlotte.
stadiums. Yeah. But in terms of like the women's national team, I think when they play big games, they're able to sell out some of the bigger stadiums. But yeah, I do agree that it would be nice to see, us get into that, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 on a regular basis. But for now, we'll take the 10,000 to 20,000 range, because the more teams that can do that, and I think last year had the most 10,000 plus average in terms of attendance.
Yes.
So as long as it's a slow growth, it would be nice to get to that amount. But they have Champions League over there, and Champions League is always a big deal. And they have, the fact that, people care about Barcelona, whether it's the men's team, the women's team, the youth team, it doesn't matter. They're going to ride or die for Barcelona. We don't really have that here. So a couple of different factors with that. But I'm excited for what's to come between this kind of budding rivalry between, U.S. and these European leagues.
Yeah, definitely. Or they can have like what the men's had at one point that 8-team tournament where it would be like the best player from it, the best team from the Champions League, the best team from UEFA. I think it's Asian Cup or whatever it is. So right here in the CONCACAF. So
yeah. So I mean, like something like three NWSL teams, maybe like 4 or 5 total teams from Europe. A couple of Mexican teams. Yeah. Maybe throw in like an Asia/New Zealand or Australia team, because I know Australia has a pretty decent league too. So just put that, make that, because, we can talk about the growing amounts of tournaments that are going on across the world of football. Yeah. What's one more? What's one more? Let's see that.
FIFA's already money hungry as it is.
Yeah. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Use our code URBANPITCH, that's one word, no spaces, to get a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're going to start playing their Pick'em game, where you can make picks on your favorite players and teams. All you have to do is pick whether they'll go higher or lower than their expected stats. We'll share our picks here and on social media channels, and you can play along with us. Let's make watching sports even more fun with Underdog Fantasy. Yeah, do you want to get into that? Do you want to get into the Champions League, or should we talk some?
No, we can talk a little about the Champions League. What a long day.
So if you haven't been under a rock, Champions League has had a new format this year. Instead of a group stage, they have an entire league phase.
My head hurt.
And it came down to the last match day 8.
For the top 8, yeah.
Last day, all the games simultaneously at one. It was a wild, almost intimidating slate. I didn't know where to start to watch on Wednesday, but did you think this new format worked?
I loved it.
Yeah,
but it's just like overloaded. Putting one on your phone, one on your laptop, one game on your tablet, and another game on your TV. Yeah. I'm a Real Madrid fan, so seeing that 1% chance that Barcelona had to beat freaking Atlanta, I think it was.
Atalanta,
yeah. And then they tied freaking bums. They can't even do nothing that right. So yeah, but it was good because the storyline, the amount of trash talking you get with your friends about different games, the little funny back and forth between me and my brother talking about they're gonna tie because why would we want to help Real Madrid? They need us. Y'all need us. We're gonna do it on purpose. So just that banter back and forth. So it's fun. And now now I think it's Real Madrid versus Man City. Yeah. Winner of that game goes against Atletico Madrid. So the storylines that just left, they're building up for the next round and then going top 8. I kind of like it. So, and you wouldn't get that in the previous format where it would come down to the last match day a lot, but it was a much more insular. One game here wouldn't affect the entire butterfly effect of the rest of the league. Was it 7 through 12?
9 through 24 are fighting for the final 8 spots.
Yeah, but I think it was 6 through
Oh, it was
12,
all was all
12,
jumbled.
It was like 3-point difference. So like everything can factor in. Like, it was great. I enjoyed it.
So I do agree with you that made it a lot more interesting and exciting, because sometimes the Champions League group stage, it's a little bit lopsided. You will have the marquee matchups, and that's the biggest point of making it an open league phase like this, was they wanted the bigger teams to square off earlier in the tournament, and they did that pretty often. So I think that was one part of why it was exciting. But the second part was this final day where, it's kind of like, MLS decision day on that last day where everybody's fighting for that last playoff spot. And so that made it exciting. And I think it was good. And I'm a little bit torn about it, though, because you're starting to see everything is getting bigger. They're expanding the Champions League. They put, I think it's like 36 teams instead of what it was before, 32.
Yeah.
The World Cup is expanding. The Club World Cup is expanding. Everything is getting bigger. And at what point is it too much? From a short-term point of view, from like on the micro level, how can we complain about more soccer, especially when we work in soccer? It gives us more opportunities to cover the game. Like the Club World Cup is coming to the U.S. here this summer. That gives us more opportunities, right? So on a small scale, that's awesome for us. But if you zoom out on a macro scale, like none of the coaches and players want it. You're already starting to see some guys get injured. At what point does it become diluted? And at what point does it become like, okay, does the novelty wear off? Because, they're even talking about the World Cup being played every 2 years, and part of the beauty of, these big tournaments is how spread out and far apart they are from each other. And now when it's just like, oh, there's a big match every 5 or 6 months, now it's just like the novelty is going to wear off. And I'm a little bit skeptical and a little bit worried about that. But also, like, my stupid idiot brain is just like, dude, this is great. This is awesome. This is more soccer.
Freaking $90 for football. Like, and I freaking think I'm stupid for that. Like, just to see more soccer. And, like, it gets to a point, like, I'm paying all this money, and then, like, I'll watch 2-3 games, and I'm like, I'm already soccer overloaded and I want to watch it. So I'm paying all that money for no reason.
Yeah.
But I love it and I hate it. The simple reason that the World Cup having 3 teams, like right now, USA, Canada. Yeah. So Canada probably will be one of the nations that we don't expect them to host a World Cup just because their soccer infrastructure is not there yet.
Yeah.
Mexico, they've hosted one before.
Two.
Salvador qualified to one. But like for that reason, like having what I enjoy about 3, like you can give a smaller country like El Salvador or Guatemala,
right,
Costa Rica, their own World Cup. There's like, and they have one. Yeah. They probably will have one stadium where they will qualify. So if they do it to that point where like let the big places have the big tournaments, but sprinkle one game here to see to boost their economy, boost whatever, like smaller countries. So I enjoy it for that phase of it. But it gets to a point where like it's just like games after games after games, like right. and the players you can see their level instead of going like this, it goes down.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
And I hope it's not every 2 years, because every 4 years you see the James 2014 World Cup. Yeah. Like he came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Came out of nowhere, went to Real Madrid, had his up and down.
Yeah.
Then another World Cup, he comes back.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying he lost it. Boom, he plays good again. So the storyline every 4 years, because every 4 years, that player that was 17 is now 21.
It's the perfect amount of time to
grow new stars.
Exactly. And then, like, to your point also about these smaller nations with the expanded tournaments getting chances, I think it's great that, some of these smaller countries are now going to be able to get to experience that, especially for the fans. But when it's like 7-1 or 5-0 in these group stage games, and it's like, okay, maybe they weren't qualifying for the World Cup for a reason, that's going to be worrisome.
See, all right, I get what you're saying though, but just giving a chance to some of these teams, like a chance to even play the World Cup. I know our Central American teams have not been doing it. Costa Rica has gotten smacked. El Salvador has gotten smacked 11-0, probably the most scored in every World Cup.
Yeah.
Honduras got it 1 year, but like the happiness it brings their people, it's unmatched. For group stages, I wouldn't mind it. Who really watches group stages like that anyways?
I mean, I love watching the group stages.
Yeah, we watch the group stages for the teams that we like.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you just have it on because, you know, you have for the last one, it was like the 7 a.m., then the 10 a.m., and then the 2 p.m., or the whatever. And you just have it on. But I agree with what you're saying. I think it's a beautiful thing for fans to experience that and watch their nation, watch their home country, who they've been rooting for and seeing get their butts kicked for years, all of a sudden now play on the biggest stage of the World Cup. But my thing is, they have to be ready for that, and I don't know if they are going to be. I truly don't know. I don't know if the pool of
Croatia had a year where they were bad, and they yearly slowly World Cup after World Cup. You saw them going up. I think for the smaller teams, some of these smaller teams need to get their ass whooped so like they can get it together.
Yeah, but Croatia's not. They have history. That's a football nation, you know. But I'm talking about like
every nation's a football nation, but the U.S.
Okay, but I'm talking about with teams that can compete. I'm talking about like, you know, your Azerbaijans. I guess what's the team in
year
Costa
Rica? Costa Rica went.
Costa Rica. I guess so. There's exceptions. There's Isle of Man. Was it Isle of Man? Not Isle of Man. It was North Macedonia. Yeah. North Macedonia qualified for Euro 2021, and they made it. I think they beat Italy in the playoff. Yeah. You know, so you have these like small success stories here and there, but exclusivity is really what I think it's a little bit underrated in terms of making things special. Like, you still need a little bit of exclusivity.
Yeah.
I don't think that expanding it to, 48 teams now, I don't think it's going to water it down that much. But if they go to 54 or 64 definitely. Or whatever, you know, you keep throwing these in there. There's only 200 nations, you know? Putting half the world in the World Cup, I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, there still needs to be some sort of exclusivity. So there's a push and pull between giving smaller nations an opportunity versus keeping the quality and making sure the product is still at a high level.
No, yeah, definitely. But just like, for example, CONCACAF. We're known for Mexico, U.S., now Canada. All right, now that they're automatically qualified, you see a lot of people from England with Jamaican roots, Guadeloupe roots. Now they're gonna come play this tournament CONCACAF. So by giving more space, now people that never thought about playing for these small islands playing that CONCACAF tournament to go to World Cup, they probably won't be at the top level, but in the future, now when the U.S.
is not point too.
Not qualified, so you're just making CONCACAF soccer better.
You're giving incentive for players with, you know, heritage to play for the smaller heritage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, I think so. We'll see how this plays out. I think small scale or short term Champions League. For now, it's worked. We'll see how the rest of the tournament goes.
But I enjoyed it. Like, it's bad for the players just because of the amount of games.
Yeah.
But for fan perspective, this last 16 games all in one day. I'm going through Paramount Plus, just like looking 3 minutes, skipping it, going 3 minutes, trying to see some AC Milan. Cause every American's on Palooza to watch at all times. Seeing how he did, seeing like the smaller team with American players, how they're doing, like. It was like soccer overload, and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. We have another big headline. Recently announced that Cobi Jones is going to be the latest LA Galaxy player to get his statue in the Legends Plaza at Dignity Health Sports Park. We just threw up on our Instagram a clip of when he was back on the podcast in 2020. Shout out to Brian Jordan, who's the host for that episode, back at the base. And that was right around the time where David Beckham got his statue. And he was the first one. I think Landon Donovan got one after, and then now it's Cobi Jones. So they were talking about, you know, who would be next, and Cobi is just extremely gracious, extremely humble. Every interview that he does, you know, he just seems to be like the best dude, and, you know, multi-time guest of this podcast in previous form. So really deserving, you know, Westlake Village, went to Westlake High in you know, LA area. I mean, not
UCLA 1991 national champion,
and then goes to. I mean, I think he was still in. Was he still in college when he was playing in the '94 World Cup?
Might have been. He was
or I don't know if this is pre-MLS,
pre-us.
Yeah. And then, becomes a U.S. soccer icon, does he still have the most appearances for the U.S. men's national team?
I don't know, to be completely honest.
Yeah, but I can look that up. But do you think he is, talk about just how deserving he is and your thoughts on it all.
Growing up, I always wanted 2 haircuts. I was able to do one, the double ponytail from David Beckham. But prior to that, I wanted dreads for Cobi Jones. So for some reason, my hair didn't want to work with me, but he's a legend. Growing up, all I remember is Cobi Jones, Mauricio Cienfuegos, y El Tanque Hurtado. So that 96, 97, Marvin Quijano, 96, 97 Galaxy team.
Yeah.
Just because something about my household, we were not LA Galaxy fans. We were just overly Salvadorian fans. Mm-hmm. So whatever Cienfuegos, Diaz Arce, Ronald Cerrito played, we will watch San Jose games and DC United games. But going back to Cobi Jones, seeing what he did with the LA Galaxy, with the U.S. national team, I can remember an early memory of him playing against Mexico. I believe it was against Mexico. 2 players crashed into each other, and it was because he did a good move and they went under them a post. They both went for a header and they crashed into each other. Just seeing things like that from Cobi Jones. Playing club, all in LA is basically UCLA. That's the creme de la creme. So seeing him come out of there, seeing how amazing of a person he is.
Yeah.
I had the honor of playing 2021, 2020. Is it Street Soccer? Street FC?
Oh, yeah.
Street FC had a
pickup game, right?
Pickup game, and then Cobi Jones came in, making us laugh. He's like, hey, I'm like, if I keep up with you guys should be ashamed of yourself. I'm my age right now, still playing really good, man. Laugh with everybody. People were asking him all type of questions. He was answering it with a smile, made him laugh. He's honestly a LA U.S. soccer legend.
Yeah. And first off, he does have still has the record for most caps as a U.S. men's national team player. But yeah, he was the first American soccer player that I was aware of growing up as a kid. Because it was mostly because his name was Cobi. It was oh, there's another Cobi in LA playing for the Galaxy. He has a really cool haircut. Galaxy have these really cool jerseys. So I wasn't necessarily a huge soccer fan growing up, but I knew who Cobi Jones was because there was still that impact of him. He was on, remember Backyard Soccer?
Yeah.
He was in Backyard Soccer, there was, as much as I hate to say it, but an aura around him that has continued today, and he's still involved, with Angel City. He's always at these LA soccer events. Always takes the time to talk, and so really deserving of this statue. Who else do you think should get?
Definitely the next one. It should be, with no doubt, Mauricio Cienfuegos.
Yeah.
There is no reason he shouldn't have a statue. The amount he did for the Galaxy, being that Salvadorian guy, bringing those players to the seats, because I remember. My dad did not know anything about the Galaxy, who they were, what they did. Mm-hmm. All he knew is that there's a Salvadorian player there, and we can tailgate at the Road. I think they will tailgate I can see where I get it from. They will tailgate way too much at the parking lot prior to getting into the game, to the point where they were the whole thing was can we see if we can make Cienfuegos laugh with the dumb stuff they used to say. And the only games we used to really go to is Galaxy versus DC, Galaxy versus San Jose, those but the crowds, the people. I remember as a kid growing up, the laughs that I got. So Mauricio Cienfuegos, for sure, he has to get a statue. And then if we talk about just Galaxy, of course, El Pescadito Ruiz. Pescadito, he made a great impact for the Galaxy, even though I think he's only here for a few years, and he played, I think, Dallas Burns or FC Dallas. So, no question. Cienfuegos played from 96 to, I believe, 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
I think that year, whatever they won that first championship, then he retired. But he is a LA Galaxy legend. You still go to these games, and a lot of people are wearing that number 10 with Cienfuegos in the back.
That's a very popular jersey.
Yeah, so there is no shadow of doubt that Cienfuegos should get that next statue.
Yeah.
And, like, I know for a fact, I'm an LAFC fan, but I would love to attend that. Just because Cienfuegos, what he brought to the Salvadoran community, he brought a hero to MLS. So there's no reason he doesn't have a statue, and I know the Salvadoran community will pop out and show out for him.
Yeah. I think that's, and in terms of the community showing out, that would be a great event as well for the team. They can make like a whole spectacle out of it. And not saying that Cobi Jones won't have a spectacle of his own when he gets his statue unveiled next year, but I think it would be different for Cienfuegos because of the Salvadoran community here, because of what he meant to LA. It'll be a really cool thing for them to kind of just.
And he's always at the games. I seen him I seen shout out to his son. We met his son at Ambiente Central about a month and a half ago.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I met his son. We went out, partied, had a long night, but cool dude. Security guard, guy's buff. Stocky little guy, just what he brings. I'm telling you that even though I'm business and you won't be surprised if you see a Cienfuegos jersey, like Salvadorian, whatever. Man, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah. You think there'll be a Zlatan statue?
Like
no way. I don't think so. I don't. Dude, think he was here for too short.
And like from talking to old teammates, like he was great. He's an amazing guy. Like, but you can tell why he played at the highest level. The amount of he wanted from his teammates. But I think he was short lived, and I think he's known more in MLS for his quotes over his games.
I mean, there's that couple of moments, that first opening game. But besides that,
that was the only thing. The only big thing. Like other than that, LAFC ran them every season he was here. You guys won some season games, but playoffs. What did you guys do? I don't think Zlatan. There's other players. There's other players that deserve statues prior to them. Top of my head. Damn, even Gato Hardeman would deserve one before Zlatan. I don't think he played here for that long.
Edson Buttle?
Edson Buttle? No, I'm not gonna lie. Edson Buttle, when he played for MLS, he was a U.S. attacking nine. So even Edson Buttle, he brought Keane, Robbie Keane would deserve one before Zlatan. I think there's people with more history, more championships than Zlatan. Zlatan overall is probably the best player for a fact. Him and Beckham can argue back and forth, but they both. In
terms of the Galaxy play, like their time in the Galaxy uniform,
So not even like just not the terms for the Galaxy, but like overall, it's Zlatan and Beckham. Other than that, none of these players come close. Donovan probably, but
I don't think Donovan is at that. I think Donovan, but in terms of like Donovan and Zlatan,
but like for Galaxy purposes only. I don't think he deserves one. Probably a picture in like.
He'll get a picture
in the press box.
I think,
Because other quotes, he made a lot of people get money with all those quotes he was saying.
That's true. That is true. Okay, Julio, anything else that you want to shout out before we wrap up?
Man, say bye to Bogusz.
Oh yeah. Okay, speak on it.
I hate it, but get your money, man. The thing about MLS, especially LAFC, if they can make a buck off of you, they're gonna make a buck off you. So when they didn't sell Oliveira to Toluca, that was the biggest surprise for me. I know we have Murillo getting hurt, a lot of people getting hurt, but I was like, something about LAFC, they're gonna make their money back.
They're not scared to sell off their darlings.
Definitely. So seeing that, I was like, wow. But like Bogusz, man, hoping the best. Azul is gonna. They love their team out there. I know they were going for a drought for championships. So any player that can bring them a championship, they're immortalized, because I think they had like Azul is known for like going all these finals and never making it. But they got a real one in Bogusz. He was a diamond in the rough when LAFC got him. first season, people were upset with him because
he kind of struggled to get his footing at first. Yeah,
but the minute he took off. Yeah. So
breakout season last year. Was a
season.
lot of fun to watch.
I think the LAFC got him for $1 million, sold him for 10.
That's a good deal.
Good deal from my part.
I'm not the best at math, but I think
sounds right. A lot of salaries are getting paid for that.
Yeah.
And a lot of more players are going to be brought in.
Maybe we'll see him again in the Leagues Cup. Too.
Just seeing not Almeida, the guy that just went back to Atlanta.
Oh, Almiron.
Almiron, just like seeing that warm welcome, how people are excited because he was Atlanta's first superstar.
Yeah.
Got him a championship. So same thing with Bogusz. So, man, good luck. We're gonna miss you on this side. Hate to see you leave, but it is MLS, and we know that MLS is we're a selling league. We're not a keeping league.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something else after. I hate to see you leave, but
hey,
what?
Walk away. Kind of back and forth. Soccer team.
Okay. But if that's all we can.
Man. More guests coming. So man, just stay tuned. We're getting closer to that 200 episode, man.
Almost there. 9 weeks away after this. 9 weeks. That's a couple months.
It's crazy.
So, we got a lot of things planned for 2025. So keep tapped in with us. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for watching and sticking with us this far. Be sure to like, subscribe, do all that. But until then, this has been another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. For Julio Mateusz, I'm Ramsey Abushala. We'll see you next week.